Hello, Internet. This is the first episode of First Issue First Impressions. I'm your host, Grant Man, and it's going to be an awesome time. On this show, we're going to talk about the first issues of comic books. I'm not going to have read the number two, and I'm going to try to make predictions about where the book is going and how long it's going to last. Be warned, this show will have spoilers, but since we only talk about the first issue of comics in this show, you're not going to get the entire run spoiled, you're just going to get the first issue spoiled. So it might be that you hear something that we say about an issue and you want to actually pick up the run after that. So don't let that deter you too much, because honestly, not just too much happens in the first issue of most comic books. For the first episode, I picked 5 really groovy books. We have Back to the Future, Guardians of the Galaxy, Doctor Strange, Amazing Spider-Man, and Paper Girls. Following titles like Ninja Turtles, Bill and Ted, Ghostbusters, and Transformers, IDW is once again playing off our nostalgia. Back to the Future #1 came out right on Back to the Future Day, and it's pretty good. This book has a lot more street cred than these other IDW titles because they got Bob Gale, the screenwriter and co-creator of the Back to the Future movie, to come in and write it. That gives this story more of a feel of canon. It makes you think, this probably did happen. My favorite thing about the book is they don't try to continue the story. It doesn't take place after Back to the Future 3. It's Doc telling his kids, like, little stories about his life, like how he met Marty and a little thing from college, just filling in the gaps. And I really hope they continue suit. That's what the Over the Garden Wall comic did. It just tells you things that happen in between the episodes, and I really like that. This book is kind of the worst kind of nostalgia. It's nostalgia for like a TV show or a movie you liked. It got me. It sucked me in. I'm gonna get all 6 issues of this run, but it's totally a trick, and there's nothing really new or cutting edge about this book. I'm loving it. I'm eating it up, but it is what it is. My buddy Justin Wright actually wrote a review for this book, and I'm going to post a link to that in the description. He makes some really cool points I didn't do here, and he points out some references I didn't catch. So now we're going to discuss 3 titles from the Marvel relaunch. They were supposed to come following Secret Wars, but with a bunch of delays now, Secret Wars isn't even over yet, and the Marvel relaunch is like a month behind us, because these books have been out a while. But, whatever, Marvel. It doesn't really matter. I'm on board. The first Marvel title we're going to discuss is Brian Michael Bendis' Guardians of the Galaxy. This is there's a lot of weird things. I like it, but I don't like it. Okay, there's a big lineup change. There's no Gamora, and there's no Peter Quill. It's a new Star-Lord. They've got Kitty Pryde as Star-Lord. Now, that's pretty neat, but at the same time, it's like, oh, so you took out the chick and the guy, and you just added a member from the X-Men and a member from the Fantastic Four, because we're just kind of switching all the teams up now. And that's cool and all, but they picked the Thing to come in there too. And the dynamic of the Thing is really unnecessary, because he's kind of the big brute, but you have Groot that's already the brute. And he's kind of the wisecracking loudmouth, and you had Rocket who is the loudmouth. And I don't know. The Thing seems really unnecessary there. He didn't really add anything. And as far as Kitty Pryde as Star-Lord goes, it's cool, but you're making a huge deal that Star-Lord's not there, and spoiler alert, the last half of the comic book is dealing with them going and talking to Star-Lord, like, and then at the very end, Gamora shows up. So you make a huge deal and poster it out that there's not going to be any Star-Lord, and you don't have Gamora on the poster, and then you feature him in the comic anyways. You make it about that, and it's cool. I like it. I like Bendis. He's a total B-minus writer. He never writes anything I absolutely love. He's never really brought me to tears, but I've never read anything by him I hated. I read every issue of Ultimate Spider-Man, and that's a lot. And I mean, I can't really think. I mean, the Clone Saga kind of jumped the shark a little bit, but kind of necessarily. It paid homage to the old one, Jumping the Shark, but that's a completely different comic book. I'm not saying that Bendis hasn't wrote any A plus stuff. I'm just saying on average he bats about B minus because Alias Alias is a total A plus book. I love that book. It's amazing. Everyone should read Alias. Go read Alias now. I'd really like to see Jonathan Hickman or Warren Ellis get their hands on Guardians of the Galaxy. I think they could make it trippy and spacey and sci-fi, and it'd be awesome. I'm not saying I don't like what Bendis is doing. I want it more trippy. I am going to continue to pick this book up. I've got it in my pool box, and I'm going to get it monthly, and probably the whole run. I'm just a sucker for Guardians of the Galaxy. I caught the fever last year with the movie, and I mean, come on. It was just great. I went and got the 2008 run, and then I got the Bendis run, and then I even started reading the old run. And another great Guardians book that you need to read if you're really interested in them is the Guardians 3000 run that came out last year. It deals with the original team in the year 3000, but there's also all these time cracks, and it's kind of leading into the Secret Wars thing that happens. It ties in with that a little bit, but it's totally worth reading, and it's great. Okay, next up we have Doctor Strange #1. This is a really cool comic because I really didn't know a lot about Doctor Strange. I've seen him on like the periphery of really big events. Like I remember from the Infinity Gauntlet and like the Infinity Wars and all the like Illuminati stuff, but I've never like really just read any solo Doctor Strange runs. And coming into this, that didn't really matter. This was a really good #1 issue. It had this really cool thing it did where it had old panels and they were like kind of faded out, and it did like a voiceover where he told like his little origin, and then he goes on this adventure, and it seems like it's going to be like huge mystical problems going on, but kind of like on a small street level thing. Like he's going to be dealing with them on a case by case basis, like a X-Files type thing. And I'm really excited about this. I'm definitely going to add this to my pool list. It's super cool. And, you know, you have that movie coming out soon with Benedict Cumberbatch, so this gets me stoked on the character. And maybe if I get stoked enough, I'll pick up that new More of a Legend from the Hulkbuster wave. I hadn't got any from that wave, because I'm trying not to, because these new Star Wars Black series have been killing me. But, I don't know. I might have to get that one if this book gets me amped enough. But I'm really excited to see where this goes. I love the mystical, trippy, like going over to the other planes, and apparently he's got this cape back, which is a big deal. Like I said, I don't know much about Doctor Strange, but I'm really excited to learn more. And if you want to learn more too, then this would be a good place to go, because it's just really good first issue. Okay, the last Marvel book that we're going to talk about for this video is Amazing Spider-Man #1. I knew I was going to pick this up from the second I saw the preview just because of that gorgeous Alex Ross cover. Now, this is a weird comic. Peter Parker is starting a big industry, and it's global, and it's technology-based, and the entire time everyone's like, haha, you're not Tony Stark. And he's like, oh, I know I'm not. But they're kind of setting him up to be the new Tony Stark. Like, he has this big company. He's got a body double, kind of like Rhodey, like flying around pretending he's Spider-Man to make people think, oh, well, I thought Peter Parker was Spider-Man. Peter Parker's right there and Spider-Man's right there. Well, he can't be. It's impossible for someone to wear suits. So, it's just... It's pretty neat, you know. I like that they're switching roles, but at the same time, I don't really enjoy millionaire Spider-Man, like running a big company and being all over the globe and having other Spider-Men. Like at this point, there's like 20 Spider-Men. You know, if you wanted to make one of them big, do that to the 2099 guy or something. Like, I don't know. I want to see Peter Parker struggling. Like, that's my favorite Peter Parker. Like, because it relates to me. It makes him feel more like a real person, you know? We have so many bigwigs. We have so many super genius rich guys in the Marvel world. We have Reed Richard, we have Tony fucking Stark. Like, we don't need another one. And I like my Spider-Man small, but that's cool. That's why I'm excited for the Miles Morales Spider-Man that's coming out, because it is going to be a small time Spider-Man, and like I was talking about earlier, Bendis is going to be writing it, and he does small time good, and I'm excited about that one. This one, I'm not gonna. Issue 2's actually already came out, and I didn't pick it up. I might get the trade later, but I just am not too interested in it. And as far as all of these Marvel goes, I like to make a prediction on how long they're gonna run, but I'm just gonna do all these Marvel ones together. I'm gonna group them. I'm gonna say 24 issues apiece because they all came out about the same time, and I say about 24 months from now, 2 years. I'm giving them pretty much an entire year longer than they had other time from Marvel. Now I'm gonna say 2 years from now, Marvel's gonna be like, okay, restart. Because none of these Marvel comic books are gonna get up in the issues. Like DC, when they did the New 52, those are like on issue 45 right now. But from Marvel now, all those things were like issue 16, issue 20, and they just like restarted them. The cover of Squirrel Girl actually makes a joke. It says, "It's only our second #1 this year." Like Marvel always hits the reset switch. But that's cool. That means you're going to see a lot of Marvel on this show because they have a lot of #1s. DC doesn't do that too much, so don't think I'm like not a DC fan, because I am. I love Batman. I love the Flash. I pick up both of those. I pick up Superman pretty regularly too. I admit I get way more Marvel, but I'm a DC fan. They just don't hit the reset button as much, and they don't come out with as much new stuff. They have a little bit more integrity than Marvel. But I'm not going to say that. Oh, God. Marvel people are going to crucify me. DC people are going to crucify me. Whatever. Okay, the final issue I'd like to talk about tonight is Paper Girls #1. This is such a cool book. It's by Brian K. Vaughan. And Brian K. Vaughan is just a boss. If you've never read Why the Last Man before, it's quintessential. And his current run, Saga, is probably the best printed comic book right now, like the one that's currently running. Like, I don't really think anything touches Saga. Whenever I first read the first volume of Saga, I had the paperback. I felt like I was 8 years old, and I just saw the special edition Star Wars for the first time, and it fucking like blew my mind in theaters. Like, but we're not talking about Saga. We're talking about Paper Girls, and it's a cute book. It's about these 12-year-old girls on Halloween night who are paper girls, and there's like all these leftover hoodlums that are still up super late when they're waking up super early, and like they're kind of dealing with them, and it's got a Halloween setting, but like this weird sci-fi twist at the end. I don't want to just like say too much about, but the thing about this book is it's nostalgic, but it's not nostalgic in the way that IDW is nostalgic. Earlier I said it's nostalgic in the worst kind of way. This is nostalgic in the best kind of way. It makes you nostalgic for a time you never lived in. Like, I was never a 12-year-old girl in the 80s doing a paper run, and Jackson the Paper has always been delivered by a Buick. Like, I don't know, like, it's just good. It's like Happy Days, I was never in the 50s. I was never gonna die, but that's what I'm saying. This is the best kind of nostalgia. It makes you miss the past you never even experienced, and it's really well written, and it's supposed to be an ongoing series. I hope he writes it forever, but I'm really gonna say it's probably gonna last 20 or 30 issues because he's got Saga going, and I really just want him to concentrate on that. And I really don't see Paper Girls being something that you could stretch to like a 60-issue arc. Like, it's not just like a huge story. Like, by the end of the comic, there's something really weird going on, and you don't know exactly what. So that could open up a huge world, but from the first issue, it just seems like a small world. So don't know exactly how long that'll stretch. But I don't know. Brian K. Vaughan's awesome, and I'm gonna read it as long as it comes out. He just came out with another series called We Stand on Guard, which is in the future, and it's about a U.S. war with Canada. It's only I think it's a 6-issue miniseries. I was gonna do that on the show, but I'd already read issue 2 and 3, and so it was against the rules. But I might do just like a mini video just about that, because that series is so good. I might just do an episode on Brian K. Vaughan, because he's amazing. Go read Brian K. Vaughan. Thanks for watching the first video. Please hit like and subscribe. It would mean a whole lot. I'm Grantman, and I'll see you next week.